Okay, so last time you guys had finished off your fight against a very old friend. Well, some of you very old, some of you didn't even know the guy, as you went down to Stone Shore, um, because there was a massive storm over the head of Kumach's house. Before that, however, the world was affected by a wave of emotional energy. From what Osa could see at her home, it was a wave that made a lot of people go berserk. She had to aid in the knocking out of some of the berserking villagers, though had help in the form of her mother Zera and a reunited friend or rekindled friendship in the form of the Guado Vargas, using their magics to put the villagers to sleep. In Stone Shore, your group was accosted by slimes that were made out of a black ichor, and with their ability to steal away magics, they proved to be quite a difficult fight to the entrance of the house. Getting inside, you were able to see Kumach in his frenzy, and from what Iskandar and Leonard were able to inform you, is that it was a similar effect that occurred with your previous adversaries in the forms of Dr. Rookbod Altweist, the Troll Queen Zara, Derganal II, and Enigoth with Vizin Vyip. With Kumach being infused with the power of gluttony or some other form of magics, he attacked your party using some broken ass magic because, whatever. And it ended off with a slugging match between between Osa and Joseph, with Osa eventually going down due to rage and frenzy and whatnot. Joseph was able to use the items among the party to revive everyone and bring them back up, as well as Kumach, who was finally out of whatever mind control was affecting them. And with his defeat, you thought everything was going to be right as rain, and you'd only have to wait for the last sin's energy. However, as you left the house with Kumach in tow, you saw the outside to be almost opposite to what was happening beforehand. Whilst the storm had created a lot of havoc and people trying to bring in the boats to dock, everyone now was very dazed-like and without much emotion. People walking around slowly, or the majority of them prostrating to the floor as they almost paying dividends to the images in the sky. And speaking of the sky, as you looked to inspect it, you saw 7 large silhouettes covering what you could assume to be the sky, could also be space, but since they're covering the entirety of it, they are humongous creatures. And in the middle of them all is the sun that has been cut into 7 portions. The world is slightly dim, as a lot of the sky has been darkened by these silhouettes, though the light of the sun does allow you to see most of the area. Along with those visages in the sky, either their material beings are stopping it, but there is no sort of wind, as well as no real animal sounds to be heard. It's possible the effect has also been affecting the wildlife as well as the mortal beings. You decided it would be best to help those who have been affected to gather up in a larger area, using Joseph's healing house as the main place to have all the residents of Stone Shore in it, or at least a massive portion of it, because he couldn't contain the entirety of the village. Leaving back Kumach, as well as finding 2 others who weren't affected by the wave, one of them being a priest and the other an older gentleman. They all said they would keep control of the people that you had gathered, and that you guys would head off back to the Nefel to give a report of what happened with Kumach. With Iskandar already having been hired by the Nefel army to investigate some of these occurrences, as well as working alongside Ringdar Saldane, the court magister, you had a pretty much straight ride back to the report you were going to give off. Returning to the capital city of Nefel, you saw the same kind of scene here, with a majority of the populace walking about in a slow manner without any real urgency to their movements. Though thankfully, you did see a fair few more civilians unaffected, though you did enter via the teleportation hall, and everyone there was very apt at magic use as well as the resistance of such. Which either led you to the assumption, or talking with others, that it seems to be an effect that people can resist, though you have to be magically attuned to do so, or have a heavy connection to deities, hence why plenty of the priests and clerics and whatnot aren't seemingly affected. Returning to the 3rd Battalion branch, the trains, I think, were still working, and the people were still going about their daily routines of buying food or doing their work, though, again, there was no real emotion in what they were doing. They were just doing their actions. A emergency broadcast was being displayed on the TVs, saying that anyone who was unaffected by this wave was to report to any military or form of government to basically try and gather everyone up who is still of mind. Meeting back with Lieutenant Colonel Wedge, Rignes Aldane, Alfera, and some others who were unaffected, you had a long discussion between you and the higher-ups. And it seems that this is a global phenomenon, as either through the use of sending magics or teleportation, you were told that this had been affecting everyone in Urana Dre as well as the Triconfection Isles. And from Osa's previous trip back to our homeland on the Eva Canenta, it would also been affecting there. Using the map and yellow orb that Brigadas had used with Iskandar before to find the emotional energies of the world from these previous 5 people who were possessed by it, it now showed that the world map was completely void of color, showing just a black void over the map. Which definitely went hand in hand with how the populace was acting. Seemingly the emotion of the world has been sapped away. And with very few people left unaffected, it could mean a stagnation of the world and its progression, as no one really has the emotion or drive to progress forwards. They're just doing what they do. There was some arguments about how this was happening or who was doing it. One of these was the Orc Kurdash, a cleric who follows the goddess Minerva, a somewhat lesser known deity as they are seated within the core of the world, and one that doesn't really talk to her followers or anyone that she gives power to. And between Kurdash, there was the Troll Queen Zara, one of the previously affected Sin people who you were able to talk with and get a contract signed up. And through both detect magic and similar spells through both Iskandar and Regandas, you were able to see that she did have a faint color of the aura that was affecting her before, of a violet hue, though it was slowly fading away. Combining this with your fight with Kumunch, who had a similar effect of his pink hue slowly fading away, it seemed like if someone gained what they were after, was defeated in combat or through some other means, they could recover from their possession. Though sadly, you couldn't confirm this with everything, as the Dr. Rickwood Altweist died during that campaign. Daragonard II was pretty much filled with wrath, and being a massive building, you couldn't really bring it back after the fact. And now Jack has thrown up a wall of mirrors as he has the Twitch on his screen. What the hell happened there, Jack?
There it is.
Okay. And then finally with Zinvia, when you defeated her, it seems like her powers of divinity, when you were cutting them off, it tried to revive her as it would normally for a deity, but it wasn't able to complete, and so her body just pretty much disappeared into matter. Talking with everyone here, it seemed that the Troll Queen Zara was of the opinion that a mortal being was behind all of this, and that it had nothing to do with the deities, whereas Kurdash was of the opinion that this was some divine intervention by Minerva herself, as the silhouettes in the sky resembled those of the weapons in his Book of Minerva. There was no real consensus to what was happening. Some people agreed on one side and some on the other. You guys also had your own input into what you believed was happening. Though, aside from whatever was happening, you had to deal with it somehow, and with the influence affecting Kumunch and you being able to stop it rather quickly, he wasn't able to gain much power, and so you went about trying to keep your eyes out for the next brush of energy. And hopefully, being one of the last, since you had already gone through 5 of the sins, there'd be 2 left in the form of sloth and greed. Whilst here, you were also visited by the hero of light, Axel Phoenix, who was able to confirm that the Triconfectionaries were also being affected by this wave of magic. And during this whole debriefing with the Nefel army, you were able to hear from Regendas that they were able to capture one of these sin slimes that you had fought outside of Stoneshore. Seemingly, it was attacking another group of unaffected adventurers or travelers, and so you guys teleported off with Regendas to this, not exactly a research hut, but a secluded area where the slime was encaged within a glass cage. The windows themselves being magically treated and being rather resilient. Looking upon the slime for some time, you saw that it was targeting your 4 characters in particular, and seemingly ignoring Regendas, as the slime would bash its body against the glass trying to get to you. Eventually, you were able to converse with the slime, or at least as much as you could, asking it some questions, and it referred to the Masters, as well as calling all of you out by name. Towards the end of this interrogation, the slime began to shrink until it was almost unseeable, and then explode inside of the cage, covering the glass in its black ichor and letting out a high-pitched screech. Wanting to remove yourselves from this area, as the slime did kind of intimidate that its masters were coming, Ringdas tried to teleport you guys back to the Fell. However, before you were able to do so, a large hand erupted from the wall, grabbed your party, and threw you out to the plains. The Ringdas, being the main one being grabbed, was thrown into a tree. Seeing the large creature, it was a humongous sloth-like creature with porcupine effects to it, and through fighting it, you found that a lot of your attacks were having almost no effect on it. Wanting to retreat and regroup, Ringdas was able to get away from the tree into your party and teleported you back to the Fell. However, the travel to the Fell wasn't much of a victory, as the large creature had followed you for its own teleportation magics. Using a counterspell as you tried to teleport away with Iskandor's magic, you were stuck within the Fell with Iskandor's MP getting rather low. And with the threat of it just counterspelling again, you decided it'd be best to flee into the streets and get backup. As both Axel, as well as all of the armies still being within the Fell, you could get their assistance. Through fleeing, Ringdas was the slowest of the group, and was grabbed by the large weapon. And all you heard was a crunch, and then a drop of his wooden staff to the floor. Fleeing through the streets, you decided it'd be best to head to the Dead Sector, as that was only really home to monsters at this point, hoping to keep some of the damage minimal. The size of the weapon was too grandiose, as even when it moved, it would destroy buildings, and if you were in the Dead Sector, you'd only destroy rubble. However, the weapon was much faster than you anticipated. Even though it looked like a sloth, it could jump leaps and bounds, as well as shoot out lasers from the orb in its chest. One such laser cut through the earth and created a large chasm, cutting it through and severing the right arm of Leonard and the left leg of Osa. In the skies was some aid, however, as Axel Phoenix flew and dug his blade into the head of the weapon, and able to rear it around as if it was just a beast of burden. Healing up as best you could from the attack of the weapon, Kurdash was able to find your party and lend out a helping hand, teleporting you all away from that situation. And with that, you will arrive here. It also has the typo. Joseph, did you just use regenerate on Osa for now? Because did you only have one scroll, or what's happening there?
I believe I only had one scroll of regenerate. Let me double check.
Well, as you're looking for that, I'll give a description of how you teleport here and the vicinity you find yourself in. With a burst of magical might, the party emerges in a blast of wind, their feet landing on stone steps. The destructive sounds of the weapon destroying the city are replaced with the chatter of monks, priests, and druids. Books hit against stone and wood as the nearby populace are startled by the party's teleportation into what seems to be a pathway between a mountainous climb up to a large temple. Nearby stone and wooden benches have seated at them several bemused and unaffected by the emotional wave individuals. With a sigh of relief, as well as brushing the sweat from his brow, the orc Kurdash looks over at the party. Either through divine intervention or luck, I am glad I was able to bring you all away from that monstrosity. I hope now you understand my warnings and intuitions were right. The weapons of Minerva have been activated. The Magisters in the Fell were able to pinpoint the time it breached our plane and invaded the planes you were on. We barely had enough time to contact Axel for aid.
That thing was following us.
Indeed it was. Sorry, on.
As you speak with Kurdash, some of the nearby faithful start to approach, and he explains the situation to them as they go back to what they were doing. Kurdash does lean down to help with the regeneration of Osa's arm, Osa's leg, and then eventually helping Leonard up as he's still missing his other. It would be best we get inside to discuss further. While you are gone, I searched texts as well as had my allies scour for any information that would help us.
Is there any place small and underground where that thing might not fit?
Not here. The cathedral is quite large, but from the size of that creature, it might be impossible for it to teleport there, unless its teleport works differently than ours.
I take it this place is warded against such measures. Or
We have some anti-magic properties here, as well as anti-teleportation. But if it is a divine being, it could breach those.
My apologies. I didn't believe you at the start. This talk of apocalyptic weapons just didn't sit right with me. And Leonard, my apologies. My manner is so low I can't even help you.
Kurdash, do you have anybody else who could go back to the teleportation hall of Nefel and see if they can find Regandas? He was badly wounded, if not dead, but when we left.
I would send someone, but if that creature's still rampaging, I doubt anyone would accept that.
Well, we only have so long before we can't get him back again.
We are in contact with those in the Fell. If they can send sending that everything is fine or the teleportation hole is free from danger, we can see about sending someone.
Thank you. How about we find a hole in the ground somewhere and just hide in it for a little bit while we talk? I don't feel safe out in the open.
Kodash motions to the nearby temple. A grandiose cathedral with large stained glass windows, gargantuan wooden doors with designs of flowing waters, and stone statues of tipped urns that produce the liquids.
Well, let maybe have a moment or two, shall we?
Do you all go inside the temple?
Yes.
I'll
Yep.
help Leo if he needs a hand.
Hmm.
I feel really bad. It's the one thing I'm good at, and I haven't got any mana.
Moving inside, the party sees that the interior is somewhat disheveled, either due to an attack or from earthquakes. Some of the pillars show signs of damage and chipping. The floor is mostly clear, though some books and bricks are scattered about. The alternating shades of brown and beige is accented by a long brown and white carpet that leads from the door to the altar at the far end. Emblazoned on the altar is the depiction of the goddess Minerva, beautifully coloured stone of yellow, blue, and white. Stepping quickly to the altar, Kurdash picks up a few tomes and orders them over the altar's tabletop. A few other priests also bring over some books for the orc. Good. It's all here. The orc speaks to himself, as well as the priests, as they make it all organized. Eventually, Kurdesh would have set up 5 different books on specific pages on the altar, several bookmarks popping up in other sections. Looking over the party, Kurdash notices that the weapon definitely damaged the party heavily. Leonard's still missing his right arm. He talks to a few of the priests, making some motions with his hands as they start to bring over goblets containing a effervescent purple liquid from within. A scent of berries and apples coming off from the goblets. The priests offer each of you a goblet.
I down that immediately.
As Joseph downs the goblet, some of the liquid starts to trickle over your mouth and down your cheek as you feel your body rejuvenated both inside and out, and you are fully healed of your HP damage.
We'll also drink ours.
The same happens to Osa, though she probably feels even more emboldened as she has a lot more HP to heal up than Joseph did.
I will probably also get some.
Leonard, as you drink, you don't feel any real change to your body, and you still miss your arm.
Sort of look down and grasp where his arm used to be.
Iskandar will detect magic the container, just in case.
Alright, it is definitely magical. You can roll spellcraft.
That's the plan.
You can easily tell these people are getting healed by it, but...
Oh yeah, it's just to see exactly what kind of effect it has.
Okay, you identify this as a Mega Elixir.
I will drink that because I know... Wait, does Mega Elixir give you MP?
Yeah, fully restores HP and MP.
Ooh, right, okay.
Do you drink it?
Yeah, sorry, I was too busy putting my MP turtle back in. Yes, absolutely.
I was too busy recovering before I drank it.
But yes, absolutely.
Alright. As you drink the waters, you feel your body rejuvenated and any sort of mental fatigue fade away.
My thanks, friend Kurdash. Now, Leo, let's fix that arm. I'm pretty sure we still have his arm, don't we?
I would have assumed he'd pick up his missing arm with his other arms. He was just holding it in his hand.
All right.
Yeah, we picked
Cool.
up both limbs.
Good. I'll slap them together and cast regenerate.
Unless
Yeah.
Leonard doesn't want to have his arm back, he'd just be a one-armed man.
I definitely want my arm back.
Hey,
I mean, you still get it back from the spell. It's just it happens faster if you have the original limb. Instead of like hours, it's just takes less time.
Leo will sort of start using his arm and clenching his fist and everything. He was like, that's much better. Thank you.
Yeah, it takes you 4 rounds to reattach the limb if you have it, and then if you don't have the limb, it's 3 plus 2d10 rounds.
yeah. So within about half a minute, if that's the case, your arm will be back.
So then,
As
do
you
you want a
guys-
new arm or do you want your original arm back?
Original arm.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with having a character with one arm, alright?
I don't know. I think there's something wrong with having 3 arms, though.
I mean, 3 is fine, 4 is weird. Or
We can-
6. How many was it?
We can just give your extra arm to Osa.
Oh boy, through the 3 arm characters. That's not gonna get weird.
Totally.
Kurdash will have to repay your generosity. I know that elixir is not exactly cheap to come by.
We have been gathering items and recovery for just such an occasion. We're anticipating these things to be dangerous if they kept gaining in power. Visinvia being a stark reminder that creatures can be much stronger than normal.
With all due respect, Kurdash, it seems odd that, and don't get me wrong here, I don't doubt the power of your goddess, but why would she create such weapons? You explained before it's an apocalypse event almost, that it's to scour the world so the cycle can begin anew, is that correct? They just seem almost malicious in intent.
I had an idea about that, but being not exactly a devout person, I may be completely wrong. I think somebody is subverting the weapons from Minerva. Some deity. And Joseph just lays down on the ground and puts his hands behind his head and is talking to you all from the ground now.
There are several tomes on what deities are for and what they mean. Plenty of interpretations. And there's also the misleading of the primals that sometimes prowl the lands. It's always hard to get a confirmation from the deities, especially Minerva, who is so unresponsive to her followers. The 2 main theories and books that go around the weapons is that they are used as a defensive tool against anything that would threaten the world, be it stuff from outside of the world like meteors, alien invasions, or invasions from other planes, as well as that of things on our world, like wars that would destroy our life or disease. Though we've not had that happen at all yet. The other theory is that the weapons were created to remove all sentient life from the world to aid in the recycling process, and if it was ever found that we strayed too far from whatever path Minerva designed, she would reset and try again. I would particularly enjoy the first one to be correct, but I will not be so ignorant to say that the second has no merit.
You keep calling them weapons and saying that they were created for a purpose. Does that mean that, do they have sentience? Because that slime thing called that thing its master, and it was definitely gunning for us and showing like emotion almost, I think, when it was pummeling us. Could they have, I don't know, gone rogue? Maybe someone isn't controlling them, and that's the problem.
I suppose I had some, we'll say, personal grievances against the Troll Queen and her kind. But seeing how these things are acting and your response, it definitely seems more plausible that someone else might be controlling these. What are you going to say, Joseph?
I just raise my hand and I say, I second that.
Second what? What part?
When he said he had some personal grievances against the Troll Queen.
I was able to get a glimpse of that horrific entity, though not more than a minute or two. Could you describe it in detail? Its abilities and all?
Yeah, I can draw it if you want.
No, you'd have to draw it for him. Is there anything you leave out about your description of the weapon or?
I don't see why we would. What do you guys think?
At this point, any help that we can get is going to be needful of information, and sharing information is the only way that we're going to get any sort of progress, I think. So there's no reason. So far, Kurdash has been very cordial and helpful to us, so no reason yet as to think otherwise.
Jazz, G, you alright with that?
Yeah, I concur.
Yeah.
Don't really see a reason to hide anything at this point,
No.
Yeah.
especially because we don't actually know that much in
No,
the
we
first place.
don't
so-
really know anything.
We can barely hurt it at all, if at all.
Can't touch it.
That is something we'll need to kind of...
It can teleport. It looks like a sloth and a porcupine had a
It
baby.
could follow a teleport.
It can cause rifts to appear in the ground with a light beam of some sort.
I think
Oh,
the
no,
three... Sorry, go on.
We know what lasers are, right?
Yeah, I have lasers. We know what lasers are.
Yeah, you've seen lasers before as well.
Okay.
I think the three main things we need to really convey is that, yeah, you're absolutely right, that the only thing that could really hurt it was Axel, and it's strongly implied that that's because he's a warrior of light. The fact that it can follow a teleport is a bit concerning, and also that it's... It seems to have spell casting ability, but we don't know how.
Spellcasting or anti-spellcasting.
Yeah.
Some sort.
Also, I don't know for sure, but it might be tracking us, so I don't know if it can teleport immediately after us. If it's not distracted, so as soon as Axel is not distracting it, we might be in trouble.
I think it's because it also saw us teleport. It might be something to do with being able to see where we go.
But not only that, Axel can only fight that thing for so long.
Yeah. Even with help, we're on a clock here, unfortunately.
We need to get ourselves some warrior of light level powers, guys.
Says the unreligious man.
I didn't say we had to become warriors of light, although that would be pretty badass. We just need to get on that level.
Yeah, so we'll just convey all this to Kurdash and see what he comes up with from there.
After the party describes the weapon to Kurdash, he will look over the first book on the table, flipping most of its pages to the later parts of the book. Pointing at a depiction of a large monster, he will continue. Yes, that would closely resemble that of the weapon of sloth. Many notations to the sin of sloth talk about how it affects a wide variety of similar instances. Sloth interacting with mental, spiritual, pathological, and physical states that end in a lack of exertion or laziness. In layman's terms, sloth would mean you are slow or unenergetic in everything you do. From thinking about subjects, walking from place to place, or just completing actions. Aside from being slow or energetic, it is to be without care, a lack of emotion if it were for what you're doing. Affectionless attitudes, idleness, and lack of urgency. Its weapon is that of a large sloth-like creature, with features resembling a porcupine with 4-digit claws, 3 joints instead of 2, spiked knuckles, triple vertical pupils, and finally an array of 7 light blue colored orbs, sat within its knees, shoulders, neck, and chest. At 40 feet tall, it is the shortest of all weapons, though, due to it being linked to the sin of sloth, it is no surprise it was the first to appear. Moving to the next book in the sequence, Kurdash runs his fingers over a few more lines of text. The sixth sin, colored light blue and related to the goat. A widespread phenomenon that affects all beings. It is easy to slip from moderation to exertion, a day off from work resulting in 3 days of laziness, opting for a chocobo ride over a short walk, finding the easy route in most things, leading to a steady decline in attitude. I believe it appeared first as sloth is the easiest sin to fall to, since none are safe from its touch.
So, Kurdash, this is a true weapon rather than a conduit, is what you're saying. The others have been just, not puppets, but a way into our plane, our world. It's never been the physical being of the weapon. You're telling me this is the real thing.
From all that we have in our books, everything leads to this. It's possible that the weakening of the planes were a side effect of these beings coming into our world. They got stronger and stronger until Daraganar, and then the outsiders invaded. At which point Visinviib, the strongest of all, became almost a deity herself. And with that, your friend Kumach, his abilities started to affect the entire world. A large storm, the power of the weapon coming here in a physical way, and after that, the actual weapon. I doubt there is a stage further, but if there is, I don't want to see it.
It's strange that you mentioned that, because if the weapon is here, why are there still 7 shapes in the sky?
Well,
shape still, because we didn't actually look up when we were busy fighting that thing.
I thought it still were, but I might be wrong.
I mean, there are
Joseph
stained glass windows. You can look outside right now.
Joseph will go outside and peek at the sky.
Yeah, look.
You just crawl across the floor.
I'll roll over and pop up to my feet and walk outside.
As you look up to the sky, you can see that there are only now 6 silhouettes up in space. The place where one of them was is now just a white abyss. You don't see blue or stars or even space itself. It's just white blankness. And the sun now only shows 6 of its parts, one section completely black.
My apologies.
That does not look good.
Kurdash, I think you are absolutely correct. It's got to be one of the weapons. But my worry is if we do manage to fight it and kill it, which, let's be honest here, isn't likely now, what effect will it have on the world? Surely this thing is intrinsically linked.
Either it's linked to the world, or it's just absorbing what the world had. I can talk to you and instruct you on what the 7 sins are and how it affected us.
If you believe it beneficial.
Hulking a set of pages over, Kurdash moves onto a list of the other sins in the book he holds, which he will describe to you. In order of creation, by the deities who instilled them within us, free will and the ability to sin. Envy, the first sin that saw the first of mortals, covered the other's favor from their creator. Colored green and related to the dark. Pride, the second sin that flowed from envy, a distinct emotion that holds us above others, and that all that is ours is best. Colored violet and related to the horse. Wrath, the third sin, which instills us with the ability to hate and rage. While it allows us to protect ourselves or create defensive walls, it also can explode to destroy more than we intend. Colored orange and related to the bear. Lust, the fourth sin that flows from our ability to reproduce, as well as our ties to physical and mental connections. Often mistakenly only attributed to sexual desire, lust can be for anything that one could obtain, be it a lust for a high position in a company, lust for money and power, or lust for finding a place they can call theirs. Colored dark blue related to the cow. Gluttony, the fifth sin, where we consume more than is necessary or needed. From eating more food than sates your hunger, lavish and expensive foods, drinking till you drown, as well as hoarding a particular item to extremes. Colored pink and related to the pig. Sloth, the sixth sin that I have described already, colored light blue and related to the goat. Greed, the seventh and final sin, a desire similar to lust or gluttony, but for all things instead of specific. Often attributed to the dragons, greed sees you hoard any and all material possessions, colored yellow and related to the frog. Kurdash flips the book over to shut it, showing signs of his voice failing from a long explanation. Since it is the sixth to show itself, and in its true form, it would be hard to find the next. Though, since the 5 prior sins showed in mortals, we can guess that the next to appear would be greed. Thankfully, we've not had to deal with more than one at a time, though the time from gluttony to sloth was hardly a day, so they could be appearing in shorter time frames as we reach the end. Sadly, as you saw, the weapon removed an image from the sky. It is possible we need to fight each one in their true forms.
I would imagine so, unfortunately. And, as we've already found out, we need a certain ability in order to harm them in their true forms. Something that could take time to equate to. Something we don't have. And I'll look over the pie. What do you think? Can we get this kind of ability?
We need to find a way to get this sort of ability, otherwise we stand no chance.
Indeed. My concern is, how? We don't exactly just walk into deities' houses and demand their abilities.
I guess we try and pick the most inviting and kind-hearted deity and try and persuade them.
I think it's more a case. Sorry, go on.
Looking over the party, he goes to pick up the third book, and he asks you a question. I noticed from little combat you had, or that of projectiles from the fell's defenses, for the creature had plenty of fight left. Did nothing you did have any effect?
We couldn't even touch it. My
Well,
blade bounced off multiple times.
It didn't seem
Yeah.
as if we were doing anything to it. The only person that seemed to have done anything to it was Axel.
the attacks landed, but it didn't care. They did nothing.
I could use no attack spells. I spent most of the fight trying to keep my companions alive. It dished out hurt left and right and felt nothing in return.
I don't believe it bleeds either.
There are plenty of books based on research or conversation with deities that may help. One such quote is this: "A divine being is a construct of all planes. To damage it would be to damage an entire plane. Creatures made from or on a plane have little chance to fight back, but must prostrate themselves and ask forgiveness. It is for the divine to fight divine. So it would seem that we require the help of a deity, or a way to sap their power, like you did against Titan Backbreaker. Though there is little time or mortal power to forge another such item. But the Hero of Light, like Sophionix, was able to fight back against the weapon, so we should do our best to aid in his battles."
Indeed, our only options seem to be to either assist the existing Warrior of Light, gain that power ourselves, or banish the creatures to another plane where their abilities are weakened.
We could also find our own weapon or forge our own weapon that could damage the planes, but I don't think that's a good idea.
It would be difficult. Possible, but difficult.
Let's underline difficult like 19 times.
Picking up the next book, Kadash flicks through its pages. This one in particular looks more like a journal than a published tome. "We have not had a Hero of Light since Axel, and it is quite rare for one to be made. Axel was chosen based on his previous deeds, as well as to aid in the charges given to him by Rama. The only documentation surrounding Heroes of Light are hearsay and what we could gain from talking with them. Two means of becoming a Hero of Light is to be chosen by a god, or complete a trial for them. As far as we know, the only other living Hero of Light is the Hume, Elric. He was made a Hero of Light when he reached age 28, around 120 years ago. He worked as an adventurer and hero for 40 years, until he retired, and only took on sparse work. He has not been contacted for quite some time, and if he still lives, he would be around 148 years of age. Much older than the 110 years that Humes normally live. As with all Heroes of Light, they can identify one another, and Axel knows that there are at least two other Heroes of Light still on this plane, so we hope that Elric is one of those. Our Magi have an idea on where Elric lives, but due to the emerging forces, it might be best for your team to go meet with him. If you can persuade him to aid us, we could easily turn the tides against the weapons, and if not, see if he knows of any way to contact the deities."
Sounds like a plan. If Axel is stuck facing Sloth and buying his time, the least we can do is get him some reinforcement, even if it is a hard sell.
Did you say that there's two other, besides Axel, Warriors of Light?
That's what Axel can sense, yes. So there are currently 3 in total.
Well, at least there's that. We'll have to see if we can locate both of them, if not just the one.
Indeed, we have at least 2 options. If one does not aid us, at the very least we can try and gather the other. Could actually know where the other one is. This ancient Hume.
Do you mean the third one or or Elric?
Elric.
Yeah, he said his magi have an idea of where Elric lives.
Oh, okay. In that case, do we know where the third one is at all?
They have no idea.
Alrighty then. Shall we get going then? Or is there anything else we particularly need to do here? Because I imagine we're on a bit of a clock.
Gerdash will hand the journal to, I guess, Iskandor, since he's being the most talkative here. And you can see that the journal lists a few heroes of light. Erlich Ota being the second to last in the book, and the last being Axel Pyronix.
Do we know which god Eric was given? Oh, Elric, sorry, was booned by, or was he given a sort of general one?
One second. Yes, it says that Elric's deity, who he formed a contract with, was Bahamut.
Ah. My thanks, friend Kurdash. This has been not just informative, but extremely helpful. I apologize for the drain on your resources. I do intend to pay you back.
The greatest payment is removing the weapons from this world. And I hope you get to see each other at the end of that challenge.
I intend to read this, and judging by the contract made with Elric, I imagine my companions will be the ones to either convince or potentially even take on his contract, if that's such a thing as possible. Bahamut is the king of dragons, is he not? More direct conflict, at the very least.
There are many names for Bahamut. One of them is the Dragon King, yes.
Well, let us hope he hasn't been affected by the sin of greed. I imagine it wouldn't be the case, but my fears of a dragon being the incarnate, or even the weapon of greed, does grow with me by the day.
The weapons are definitely weaker than deities. It would be hard for them to be controlling others.
I understand. Well, backup plan. What do you think? Should we go and find the Chosen of Bahamut?
As our name suggests, we will be our backup plan and help out the people who are actually doing something.
We will continue our efforts to contact the deities, but it is proving difficult. Either they are dealing with the same issue as us, or want to test us mortals and see if we can handle it alone. If you need rest, you are free to stay here the night, though we are in a state of urgency. You can either be safe and slow, or risky and fast.
Are we quite close to fatigue at this point from not resting?
You have done a lot in the day.
I mean, I need 2 hours. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, so do I.
Is it 2 or is it 4?
Sustenance is 2.
Yeah, 2 with the ring, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Let's get a little bit of rest and then we'll go. All of us only need 2 hours.
Yeah, if we spend the 2 hours and then we'll go straight, or as close as we can, that shouldn't be an issue. How far is it to the location?
Kurdish can have the Magi teleport you there.
Yeah, so if we just literally have 2 hours and then crack on, is that alright?
Sounds good to me.
Just as a note, it won't be passing the day, so you will not get your daily abilities back.
Well, that's the question, really. Are you guys alright with that, or do you want to wait until tomorrow?
I should be fine with that.
I didn't really get a chance to use my daily abilities, so I'm good with that.
What time of the day is it?
Give me 1 moment to calculate. It would currently be 6 p.m.
Okay. I'm good with either one. I don't have anything.
Okay. Should we
I am
wait?
about half down on my rage and frenzy, but I should be fine.
Alright. Should we go fast now? Speak to the guy, see how we do. After that, if we need a full rest, we'll have to go from there.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Do it.
Well, do we then need the 2 hours at all? Because we've got our health and MP for the most. Well, Skandar might need more MP, but
It's more the case of, from what Napaz is saying, every 20, I think there's a certain amount of time essentially where you automatically get fatigued. I think we're approaching that pretty quickly with what we've done without a rest.
Well, it's more based on how much you do within the day and how far you travel.
Yeah, so I think we're getting pretty close to fatigue and then exhaustion.
Yeah, because we did the whole thing with Stone Shore and Aoife Canenta, and then came back for Kumach, and then went straight to Weapon, and now we're here. It's been a bit of a day, so
it feels like it's been going on for months.
So yeah, we'll do the 2-hour rest.
This day
get
feels like it's been
teleported.
months.
Yeah, my social skills aren't fantastic. I think the only one that I've got that's decent is a +20 to intimidate, but I don't think we need that right now.
I've got some great bluff and decent diplomacy.
Yeah, my diplomacy is +10, but it's not like my main thing.
I've got very good diplomacy. I've got 26 total.
Awesome.
Do what I do best and keep my mouth shut.
My diplomacy is actually +27 total, so
Oh, all right. One up me then.
I only got one rank in it. Sorry.
But who trusts a thief?
I do. I trust him.
Well,
Besides you, that's known him since the start.
You asked.
Who they trust is a hero.
I'm not a thief.
Very convincing.
I believe you so much, I don't believe you.
You know what? Would you guys believe me if I said I was a thief?
No.
Well, you're right. So well done.
No.
All right then. Let's have the rest and go from there.
Heroes don't lie. That's my excuse.
So, you saddle up on some of the benches or sleep across the floor for the 2 hours. It goes by rather long as your minds race with the events of the day as well as what could be happening in the capital as you left the weapon to fight against the city and the hero of light Axel. Your thoughts may race with images of wherever your family may be, and if they're protected or affected by this wave of emotion. The priests, druids, and clerics all around continue doing as best they can, cleaning up the wreckage of the temple, organizing books and research, and using spells to contact people across the world. The doors open every so often as more saved people arrive, though they are mostly more clerics and the like. There's no real straight-up civilian who has no magical aptitude approaching. Through the rest, you are interrupted a few times that won't really interfere with your rest, as Perdash and the other clerics give you updates as what's happening. After half an hour passes, you'll be informed that Axel was able to drive off the weapon, though before he was able to kill the beast, it teleported away. And without a good enough ability to track where it's gone, they have no idea where it is or when it would return. It seems after that point, they started to clean up some of the rubble that was more dangerous and make sure the buildings weren't going to be collapsing. However, the chasm that was created by the laser is sticking around for quite a long while. Through the request of trying to find Regendas's body, it seems like only his staff was left behind. There's no sign of what was left of him.
Did anybody try to do like full life or anything like that on him?
I think it's because there's literally no part of his body that's there.
There's a spell that can do that still, though, isn't there?
It's reincarnate, but you still need a piece of their body, even if it's just a finger. But there's nothing.
His staff has got to have some of him on it, right? You don't handle a staff constantly without leaving pieces of you behind in it.
Not my call, to be fair.
Due to the whole wave of emotion, it's hard to get in contact with people, and there's not really people readily available to be using full life. And full life could work. You just need to be able to identify the deceased. You don't need to have a part of the body as long as you can recite the time of their death.
Enough.
Yeah, but a lot of people died around that time, so.
And they also don't really have anyone to be doing full life, because most people are at level 17. Most people hardly get to level 10. The time continues on until it reaches the 2 hours of your rest, though it feels like it was a whole day. As you try to collect yourselves and your thoughts from the still same day, though now going into night, as it reaches 8 p.m. Though it's really hard to tell, because outside the sun is still in the middle of the sky and creates the same amount of light.
Kurdash, do you guys happen to have any, like, spare scrolls laying around that we could borrow? Or pay for?
Sadly, most of our resources being put into the world right now. Trying to get around and bringing back those we can. There's nothing we can offer you. We can give you healing services, but not really much you can take away from here.
It was worth asking.
Your compassion is appreciated, Kurdash, but we should probably, well, to want of a better word, move on. I mean, no offense, but if this is as bad as you say, and as we've seen, we need to get this resolved as soon as we can.
If you are ready and willing, our Magi can have you teleported to where we suspect Elric to be held up.
I think that's a grand idea. I think we're ready to go.
Yeah.
Ready as we'll ever be.
Moving it to the outside, Kurdash remains near the altar as he shifts through scrolls of parchment and books as he continues to intelligence gather. Going outside, you're met by a few of the other magi. They talk amongst themselves, trying to get a good coordinates between them. One of them notes that they've tried to teleport close to Elric before, however, he has plenty of defenses set up to stop such. However, they have done the teleports in and around the area, and they are able to get you as close as they can, but it won't be next to it.
I suspected as much. I appreciate the assistance, however. You can't exactly expect a hero of light to have no defenses against teleportation attack.
Linking up hands with the teleporters, they incant their spell as you can feel yourself whirled through the planes. Rushing around the world, you appear in a spark of lightning, the spell almost faltering at parts, though thankfully not as harshly as when you went to the mountain of Galathralut. As you explode onto the plains, you feel your bodies tremble all over as the magics are fought back against, either due to the anti-magic and teleportation effects put up around here, or due to the whole effect of the weapons. As you all appear here, you find yourself just on the edge of a kind of large circle plain area, a clearing which seems to be in the middle of the woods. And as you all apparate here, you can give me perception rolls.
It might be broken.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Just tried it.
Give me a second. It may be because we've not played in a while that the API has just gone to sleep.
Yeah, I thought I was doing something wrong there, but...
I am spinning the sandbox. Cover your eyes. Alright. Sandbox is spin to stand everywhere. You should be able to do it now.
Honestly, Joseph with the one-ups this time. Jesus Christ.
Well, he was talking about how he was useless on Discord, so now he's just got to get all the good rolls in.
Useless against that creature.
Alright, as you operate into this area, you can all clearly see that the nearby trees have marks of both frost and slashing marks. Just with those high perceptions, you can easily tell that they've been dealt through blades, arrows, and that of magic. The frozen effects seemingly have been here for quite some time, though there are several different time frames for the attacks in ice. Some are a few hours old, others are days to weeks old. Towards the center of the clearing, you can see a rather large hut with smoke coming out from a chimney. To its side is a little fenced-in area which seems to have been set up as a tanning area. A few straps of leather set out to be stretched can be seen, as well as some bathtubs and the like. And very bemusedly, to the side of the door is a postbox.
It seems we're in the correct place. Would you mind if I cast a few spells on you before we move on?
A little preparation could never hurt.
Okay, so... using my arcane pool, I'm a cast. So do you want me to just literally type the names into chat rather than just spam it with what it is?
Sure, you can.
Yes.
As you're doing that, Joseph, you can spot 7 traps.
Spot what?
Damn.
You can
That's
spot
fair.
7 traps from where you are.
That's a lot of traps.
Oh boy. Stay right here. Don't move around. I will lead us in when it's time to go in.
You do know that they are magical traps, and if you point them out, you can have the people with detect magic actually identify them.
I will do so.
I think the only one who can do that is Iskandor. So you can give me 7 spellcrafts if you want.
Yes. Do you want me to do it as...
To the square brackets one.
Yeah, the square brackets rolls. I'll do that first, and then we'll do the spells one sec. Yeah. Was it 7? Sorry.
7, please.
There you
go. Okay, I think you get all of these. Okay, so you can identify all 7 of these, and via the use of detect magic, you can see that this is basically a think of a donut. It affects a radius around the planes, and then they stop a good few feet into it, so the house is unaffected by these. As they are detect alignment, find true name, dispel greater with an infinite reset, dismissal with an infinite reset, search forts, alarm, and arcane mark.
Right, after identifying these, will I realise that if we were to... How many greater dispels are there, is a better question.
For the infinite reset, it will just continue to use it as long as you're inside of it.
So there's not really much point in giving us magical buffs, is this point of this?
Until you go through the donut, press.
Is there any way through the donut without triggering those?
If you fly high up enough, you could probably go over the top of them.
We could just, to be fair, this guy's not... Warriors of Light are typically good deities, is that correct, or at least neutral?
There are heroes of light and there are heroes of darkness. Light generally are not evil. They can go to becoming evil after becoming one, but you would never know.
I say we go to the edge of the donut, literally yell out our names, and then walk through it.
Or, maybe just call out and ask if there's anybody home.
Well, I mean, the walking through it will do the exact same thing, but you're absolutely right.
Oh, I thought you said to the the outer edge.
No, as in we could.
So you're saying walk through till we're out of the effects, and then
just
okay.
ask.
I mean, if someone's home, if we're on the alarm, just let them know anyway, without us yelling. If we are going through.
But we want to be invited rather than intruding.
Yeah, so let's
Mm,
willingly go through these effects so that they don't feel threatened by us.
Would you like me to proceed first?
Sure. Thanks for volunteering.
I'll go through with
Don't
Leonard.
worry. Jasta has a lot of experience with going through magic circles.
Yep, and they always worked out. So, with that, Leo's going to take a step in.
I also will take a step with Leonard.
Are you going to bother resisting against any of these?
No.
Nope.
Okay. You feel the magic push into you as both your minds and hearts are searched, and you feel as if a detailed explanation of who you are has been sent to whoever made these. And there is a symbol placed on the backside of your right hand.
Come on, Iskandar. It's our
Continue
turn. Let's
moving
go.
forward.
I'm going to have to cast age resistance again, aren't I? That's the only thing I'll try and resist. The dispel.
You can't resist the spell to cast level check.
Alright, fair enough. I'll just walk through it then.
Okay.
We'll hang back and offer support if Iskander looks like he needs it.
Just carry the old man.
More or less.
Okay. You all make your way through the donut. The teleporter just kind of like stays at the back because he doesn't want to go in there. So all of your effects would have been dispelled. I don't think anyone had anything going on except mage armor and age resistance.
It was just age resistance, to be honest, so...
Alright. As you make your way through the donut, you go into the center part where the traps are no longer active. And you'll no longer feel yourself being constantly dispelled.
I'm going to cast age resistance again because I feel really old.
That's because you are. So given you've got such a large staff, you can use that as a walking cane.
Exactly. Would you mind introducing yourselves? I will just give you some oomph, as it were.
I think we've already been introduced. Or at least to them. They haven't been introduced to us yet.
Well, it is cordial at the very least. And Iskandar will just... I assume the house isn't that far from where we're stood.
The house is about 100 feet away from you.
If I just yell out my name and why I'm here.
Leo will continue to do that as well.
As you call out to the huts, the wooden door opens up and creaks loudly.
Leo will walk forward a
that
bit more.
might be an invitation, you guys.
Just a moment, and Iskandar will cast Great Heroism on everybody. Which does this. I'm not expecting you to fight them, but it's more the skill check thing.
Leo will walk right up to the door and proceed to walk in when everyone catches up.
As you walk up to the door, it feels like it's going to take some time, possibly 10 minutes, as we'll have our break here.
See you tomorrow.
Make sure the sound is on.
All on.
Okay, so you move up to the house and through the open door.
Alright, walk on in.
Going through the open door, your feet start to creak as you move atop a light brown wooden floor. You enter into a sort of combination entrance hall. A combo of both dining and living room, as well as what seems to be a sort of alchemy lab. To the left and right are two large tables, atop which are several tankards and bowls, both filled with food and drink. The alchemy table to the northeast has set atop it several monster components, vials, and completed items. To the left, an array of books and parchments laid out. And to the south of that, a display cabinet showing off some pieces of armor and weaponry.
Okay,
To the
that's good. I
south
thought it
is
was
another.
donuts.
It could be donuts if you want it to be.
I was going to genuinely ask, is that a cabinet of donuts?
Other donuts or liquid-filled, like, bottles with a little
Yes.
cap on the top.
To the south is another doorway leading into another room. The area has the smell of cooking food as well as spiced drinks.
Excuse me, would you mind inviting us in? We don't mean to intrude, but we have fairly urgent business.
You can hear a gruff voice emanating from the far room. Just take a seat. I'll be out in a minute.
Anywhere in particular you'd like us to be seated?
And a chair would be nice. As you all take a seat at the tables, the bowls in front of you have their liquids drained out, and then immediately filled back in as you see specks of meat and vegetables start to bob in the yellowish liquid. Steam rises, and you can see cutlery on either side pristinely cleaned. This only appears on the part of the table that you sit at. The others are still the same.
What a fantastic effect.
As Entro starts to eat it.
What's that?
I heard like you gulping. Sounded like you were drinking soup.
Oh, sorry. I was just taking a drink of my soda. Jeez, Leonard. You afraid we're gonna bite you or something?
In all fairness to him, we have seen some of you bite.
There's an ankle biter at the end of the room.
Not unless you provoke me.
Here's a hint for a longer and happier life, Leonard. Don't provoke Osa.
Planning to when I know she doesn't die.
Friends, please, let's enjoy this moment of calm.
And I will start to eat my soup.
Believe me, and respectfully I say this, it's hard for me to be calm when I know at any moment we could have this big weaponized sloth land on top of us.
Well, at least we're in one of the best places for that to happen, with a supposed warrior of light right here.
You're not
Yeah,
the only
but-
one worried about that, Leonard. Pretty sure we're all pretty terrified of the prospect, but we're doing what we can about it.
I am sorely tempted to find a very small hole very deep in the ground where it cannot reach me, and it cannot take up the space, so it can't just teleport to me. So we're there. We're with you.
After hearing the reassurance, Leonard will start to eat the soup.
Yeah, also eat the soup.
Does Iskandar?
He'll wait.
As the three of you eat the soup, you can hardly keep back the saliva that starts to accumulate. It's the best meal you've ever had, even compared to meals that aren't soup, like massive steaks or buffets of varieties of meats and vegetables. It's definitely created by a high form of creation magic, though used on food, it may feel a bit of a waste if you weren't such a glutton for what you're currently eating.
Oh, God. I'm going to try to stop eating.
Yeah, you can stop as soon as you like.
Okay, I was scared there for a second.
It's just really, really good.
Everybody can just, like, especially since Joseph's on the other side of the table, everybody can see, like, this moment of he's just sitting there eating, and he's, like, wanting more and more and more, and he just looks to himself, and he's like, oh, no. And he's like, sets the bowl down slowly, puts his hands in his lap, and he's just like, oh, okay. For a little bit there, he thought, I'm not going to be able to stop eating this if I try.
Is something wrong, Joseph, or maybe too right in this soup?
For a moment, I was overcome by the fear of being subsumed by gluttony.
I
Well,
understand
kind
your
of-
fear.
When she notices Joseph stopped eating, and with a reaction like that, she also like basically stops for a moment. She does continue eating, but slower.
You have to remember the sins are excesses of a more noble ideal. Eating good food is not an issue. It's when you were to take all of these bowls, for instance.
I think we were offered this food, so it should be fine.
Exactly.
Well, considering I don't need to eat,
I mean, it's still polite, right?
it is
When the
polite.
meat is prepared. Just like back at your place.
Especially considering what we're dealing with in the world, I was just
No, I hear you.
overcome by anxiety and what's the word? Unreasonable fear that gluttony was coming into play.
Worry not, Joseph, but I can understand your fears. Truly.
Yeah.
But it's really good. You should try some.
My parents were very, very strict in terms of waiting for a host to be seated before we eat. It's nothing personal. It's simply a family privilege.
As you all seated at the table, you can all give me a perception roll. Because I know you guys like to see big numbers. Okay, you can all easily see this. There's not much point in asking you to ever roll, but you know. As you're looking around the table at the bowls filling up and the ones that aren't, you can see the lids of a Tupperware box towards the middle of the table, near where a larger casserole dish is displayed. And on the top of the Tupperware lid is some writing, and it says Megan.
No, surely not. Is that one right there?
Yeah, it's a large casserole dish, and to the side of that is a Tupperware lid. There's no Tupperware box, though.
Does this have some relevance to you, Joseph?
You see that writing there?
I do.
That's my mom's name.
Ah, apologies. I didn't know that was her name. She's a renowned chef of some description, correct?
Yes. I'm gonna look inside of it and see if it is what I think it is.
For the casserole dish itself.
Yeah.
Alright, as you pull off the glass lid to the casserole dish, a large amount of fumes come from within. It starts to fill the room with a scent that would drive any man insane, as you can recognize it as your mom's famous fish casserole.
Oh yeah, that smells like home. This is definitely my mom's cooking, or at least a magically recreated version of it.
It smells divine, Joseph. Truly. She must be very gifted.
She is. She's more than gifted.
Iskander is having visible issues to stop not eating, but he's going to still stay there.
Is there an empty bowl nearby that I can scoop some of this into?
None of the bowls are empty, no.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll just have to wait. I will close the lid before I move back so that it's not affecting anybody as well.
Like the demonic being you are, you close the lid and trap the amazing fumes inside.
You just want it to get cold.
A few moments pass as you easily hear the scribbling of a quill to paper, and then a clink as it's placed into an inkwell. The stacking and shifting of papers can be heard as a book tome is closed. A scraping of wood against wood comes out from the southern room as footsteps start to echo and a man approaches. As he walks through the doorway, you could swear he didn't look a day. Pardon me. You could swear he didn't look a day past 60. The man, who was rumored to be in his 140s, has patches of skin that have definitely been regenerated, battle scars that have been rejuvenated, limbs that have been regrown, or parts of his hair that have been reattached and regrowthed. His muscles bulge through his clothes, though they have been finely tailored to suit his size and stature. On his arms, hands, and legs are spiked pieces of armor, though not fully encumbering him. At his hilt is a sword that is covered entirely by a sheath and hard to distinguish it aside from black spiraled steel on the hilt. His hair, though graying, definitely doesn't show any signs of thinning or balding, and definitely seems like he has either some magics cast upon him, or due to his status, his aging has definitely slowed to a very, very slow time. In his hand, he can see a book has been curled up in it, and he walks over to the party at the table. Walking around the table, he looks over to you and speaks out. I hope those bowls are sating your needs. It's been some time since I've had guests.
It's absolutely wonderful. Do you know my mother, Megan?
I do not, Joseph. Though I have read one of her books and bought plenty of her recipes on the market whenever I've left. If you wouldn't mind, I would like to intrude upon you. He hands out a book to you, and you can see it's your mother's cookbook she used to sell.
Oh. What would you like me to do with this?
An autograph would be nice.
Well, unless you want me to sign it in blood, I don't carry writing utensils with me.
Oh, not yours, your mother's.
Well, at the moment, that might be a little bit difficult. You see, there's very strange and terrible things going on in the world, and she is currently being subsumed by sloth, and she is not able to do anything productive. But I will work on it as soon as she is better.
Yes, I have seen some of what's happening outside, as well as heard it from those I was able to talk to when I last visited a settlement. I don't take many trips, but my last coincided with just a few hours after what happened.
How do I get the fish stew into this bowl in front of me? There doesn't seem to be any empty bowls.
Just touch the bowl and it'll search your thoughts. It'll empty itself if needed.
Oh. I go ahead and do so.
As you place your hand on the bowl, you can see all of the liquids and contents just sucked out as if you pulled out the drain, and it's now empty.
And I'll go over and fill it up with my mother's food, basically the same thing. Do.
Mr. Rosa, would you mind if we were seated? This is your house, of course.
You are free to sit and eat at your leisure, Iskandar.
So I'm sure you already know a little bit about why we're here, based off of the, I guess I can call them traps outside.
That would be the best way. I'd normally just refer to them as my protections. The power that I once wielded was definitely coveted by many beings, be they from this plane or otherwise.
Are you no longer aware of light?
I retired some time ago. Many still refer to me as a hero of light, and I can still sense the others. But I would not call myself that. I put up the mantle, as it were.
Well, you see, being retired and all, sort of came here for your aid. I'm sure you've seen the events that are occurring outside, out in the world. We're seeming to be targeted, or somewhat targeted, by these beings in the sky. And when we were attacked by one of the weaponized beings of them, we could do nothing to it. The only way we escaped was from a hero of light, Axel Phoenix. Sure you know of him. And now we're in need of some way to defeat these beings, some power, and we've come to your aid, hoping that you can aid us.
It is quite hard to not hear about Axel Phoenix. Every time I go to a settlement, there's either a new poster, newspaper, or town crier talking about his deeds. Would you say you cannot damage these things? I assume them to be primals, but if they are not such, and you are unable to deal with them, but Axel is, it's probably that they are of a divine nature.
So here's the deal. And then Joseph just goes into the whole explanation of everything that we've learned so far. So we can't damage them. We believe they're these weapons of Minerva, and I personally think that they've been subverted by someone or something. I don't think they're under Minerva's control. And the only person, as we've stated, that has been able to damage or do anything to them, and from what we've heard, nearly kill one of them, was Axel. So we're looking for a way to gain that level of power for ourselves to help defeat them, or to gain allies with that level of power to help Axel because he can't fight all of them himself.
It is definitely admirable you would want to help your ally. And yes, if Axel is alone in this fight, and not being able to kill one of them, it may lead to his death eventually. But, as I have said, I've handed up the mantle. It's not something easily to return to, and if I become a hero of light once more, I doubt I'd be able to retire once again. Being an adventurer, let alone a hero, for so long has given me too many memories.
Maybe you can help us out in another way then. Maybe you could describe your transition from everyday mortal to hero of light, and or possible other ways that you might know of from other heroes of light to help us find a way to do it ourselves or find somebody else who might be able to do it. We're at an impasse right now because we can do nothing of use other than track people down.
I could tell you of the adventures I had to becoming one. Though, are you truly sure you wish to go down that path?
Yes.
It's not something you can walk away from.
That was so fast.
I'll tell
Leo
you right
quickly
now,
perks
Elric,
up and he's like, yes, I'm ready, willing. I want to learn everything.
I'll tell you right now, Elric. Joseph glances off to the side at Osa for just a brief moment. I am willing to do anything and everything to protect my friends and my family, regardless of my own personal cost.
Osa, what are your thoughts? This
Feel the
is...
same way.
Go on.
I never really saw myself becoming a hero, but if I need to become one to protect this world and deal with the situation, I will do what it takes.
My concern is, Elric, what is the cost? I have children, a wife. I mean no offense, but I don't see any of them here. For you, at least.
There are many prices to pay. Being a hero is a full-time gig. And for as long as you do it, you'll see a lot of futility in the actions of both mortals and immortals. All of the spouses and children I've had, I've outlived. They're all within the cemeteries of Nefel now. The other heroes of light I traveled with also perished. Add that to the amount of people I've saved who did not survive a further week, if even a year, and what you leave behind is a trail of corpses and contracts saying you did the job. You ask about spouses and offspring. You will outlive them. Even if you wanted more, you'll outlive them again.
Is there no way to simply die in a natural time span? I'm no friend of old age, but it seems too cruel a price.
Eric puts his hand into his tunic pocket as he pulls out a very long, slivery black rod. It sparks a bit through both lightning and just kind of like smoke coming out of it as he shows you to it. You have the ways of magic. detect this.
Yeah, sure. Do you need a roll from me at all? Sorry.
Yeah, spellcraft.
1, don't fucking hit me now. Come on. Oh, it was the
That's
opposite.
an opposite.
You scared
Well
the
then.
digital dice.
You can identify that as a spell level 15 death item. It's been used several times.
Iskandar essentially slaps his hands on the table at both of them. Why have you got that?
Retirement doesn't exactly work on heroes.
Are you telling me you tried to kill yourself?
A number of times.
How did it not work? Iskandar is genuinely confused at this. Because that should work.
Well, there's a saying that only divine can hurt divine.
Are you telling me you're immortal?
It's spell level, not cast level.
Oh god.
Yeah, that would definitely normally work. I see your scars and your injuries, but that thing would kill most beings, let alone humans.
Hey, your friend there, Joseph. If you can identify
Yes.
creatures, do it to me. It's very hard to gauge Alric's power, and whilst you don't get everything, you can tell he's at least level 40.
Oh. Do I get his let's see. Class level, ability modifier. I don't get to see his
No, you don't
race,
get-
do I?
So say probably don't, I
No,
think
you
he's
don't get
higher
that.
than he's higher than level 40, but that's just
Yeah.
much as you could gauge.
You can gauge he's at least level 40, and he's a combination of a fighter and a black mage.
That is
So he's even higher than 40. We don't know how high.
how. I
He's
didn't
alive a
even
long
know
time.
that was possible.
The gods are cruel, Joseph. They demand much, it seems. Even the good ones.
This man, this Hume, has lived for a very long time. He is at least what we would understand as level 40, but I don't know how to explain that in character.
You could say twice as strong as you, because you're level 18.
He's at least twice, he's more than twice as strong as I am, and any of us are.
Chapped.
Shaft! Oh boy! Eric puts the long, slivery black rod back into his tunic. The one you spoke of earlier, Axel. That item would work on him, though. He is still early in his career.
Do you?
But I was a hero for quite some time. 40, 60 years. It all piles up, and eventually, nothing can end you. At least, not mortal things.
Elric, my question to you is, if you were to aid us without taking up the mantle, well, a better question is, do you have a choice? If you leave this hut, do you simply have to don it? Or do you simply be a man walking out?
I don't understand your question.
The question is, if he was to take up the fight, can he take it up as he is, or does he have to be a warrior of light? So could he essentially aid
He-
us as
Yeah,
he is,
fight with us without actually
Yeah.
revealing that he's one of the heroes of light.
or even taking that power?
Yeah.
You said earlier he would have to.
Oh, so you would have there's no choice
Yeah.
in it. All right,
And
okay.
if he comes out of retirement, he can't go back into it.
I wouldn't force that on you, personally.
I wouldn't force it on you either, but I'm willing to take up the mantle of hero if it means that countless others get to live their full and normal lives. I'm willing to live and become the sacrifice for everybody else if that's what it takes.
I will warn you, Joseph. You say you want them to live their full life. As I've seen, barely a third of the people you save will have their full life. If you want proof of that claim, I have journals and letters and books.
That won't be necessary. I believe you. I'm sure we all do, quite frankly.
If you're fine giving people a few days more of their life, and if you can live with that weight that you gave them a few more moments, I can tell you what I did.
From, the way that I live my life and the way that I've met others, just having extra time, any time at all, is a gift. No one would want to have any of their time shortened. So if they get the opportunity to have even just a spare moment extra, surely they'd want that. Which is why I would happily take the mantle if it meant to just give them that extra bit of time.
I agree. When I left home, barely old enough to make my own decisions, with a little bit of adventure in my heart, got a job, started helping people. The greatest thing that I have done has been these last couple of months to a year, depending on whatever has happened, has been me and Osa taking on the world and helping people. We've definitely made a couple people's lives at least much longer.
And you, Osa? Are you willing to see everyone you know pass, and you go past it?
It's hard to put that into words, really. Like I said, I never set out to become a hero or anything. I only ever wanted to be useful for someone or something. All I've ever been, it has been a nuisance in the way, a threat to everyone around me. So if this is a chance to turn it around and be useful, then I'll do it. I don't care about hero business, being reveled or having power other than being able to do what I do, but just want to be useful.
Very well. I've told you all the risks. Anything else, you'll find out for yourself whenever you get to talk to a deity.
Personally, I
Hey.
don't want to. This seems like a bad bargain.
You may be able to get out of it early, but not for me. And all the heroes of light I knew are long since passed.
It seems...
Iskandar.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
No, you first.
Iskandar, you don't have to. We're not asking you to. I'm not going to make you. This is something you have to decide on. If you're not comfortable with it, then that's fine. You're more than welcome to stay with us and help us out in other ways. But I can't continue feeling useless and helpless. If I can do something about it, I'm going to.
I understand that, Joseph, truly. I do. My worry is seeing my grandchildren die before me and having nothing I can do about it.
Well, here's the other side of that as well. If you do manage to go through this with us, when it's over with and you feel like you're done, we will all be divine blessed beings. I'm sure that we can help you end your service, as it were.
Let me ask you this, Joseph. When the time comes, all of you, Osa, Leonard, if we have to take this burden, and I don't see it as a blessing, onto us in order to fight these creatures, these weapons that threaten our world, and our loved ones, and our friends and family, I need you to kill me.
That is exactly what I was saying, Iskandar. I just wasn't going to put it quite so bluntly.
It has to be done. I don't... Elric, I mean no offense, I don't want to live like you.
I have to say, I have much respect for you, Iskandar. Truly, I do. But I couldn't be the one to do it. That's not the way I would want to live. That's not who I would be.
I know, Leonard. And I mean, you're a good man, and I wouldn't expect you to sully your blade like that. However, and I mean nothing to you, Joseph and Osa, but I know you could. It's just how you are.
As I said before, I am willing to do anything to protect anybody in any way that I can. And if that means protecting you, Iskandar, means that you do not wish to outlive your descendants, I will protect you in that way when that day comes. All you need to do is give me a sign of some sort, and that night you will pass in your sleep.
Good. I've seen what happens when people who have power turn. I've never wanted to be that person. That's all I ask.
You either live a hero, die a hero, or you become evil. I chose to retire.
Well, it seems that your burdens are catching back up to you, at least in a different way. Just can't get rid of it forever, can you?
Not the lack of trying. But I've been able to find peace of mind here. I went to do what my parents did. They were hunters. They wanted me to be one. It only took about 140 years to get to that point.
I'm sure they were proud of you, in their own way.
I'm not sure a parent can be more proud of a child who becomes a hero of light.
Speaking from experience, it seems that the proudest you can be is for them to follow their own choice. Enough of being emotional. It's going to all wipe his eye. Elric, you've been a fantastic help, but I understand you don't want to be a hero of light anymore. And I think I speak for all of us when I say that we wouldn't want you forced to be one. Would you agree?
Absolutely not. You should never be forced into anything you do.
And I'll tell you this as well, Elric. If I find a way, I'll come back and try to help you the same way that Iskandar is asking. I don't think I will be able to find a way, but if I do, I will let you know, and you can make that choice as well.
Maybe in 80 years or so. But I've got time.
So, what do we need to do?
Well, there are two ways I know of. One that I did. The one you probably know the most of is Axel, since you are acquainted with him. Do enough deeds, get seen, get picked up. Basically, you're a sports person looking for a coach. But right now, it doesn't seem like the coaches have their eyes out. So instead, you probably have to do what I did. And my fellows. There were 4 of us in total. We were... I don't know how many missions it was in. Probably 20, 21 missions. We went to a cave. Very, very long cave. Full to the brim of fire, lava, and heat. We killed many a bomb, fire elemental, and lava creature. Towards the end, we fought a primal of Ifrit. Wasn't the hardest fight we ever had, but the dungeon itself changed. It had things we weren't expecting in it. Demonic beings, things that had nothing to do with fire, and traps, oh the traps. It was mostly a mission to get the horn of the Ifrit primal. A local leader needed it to make an item. I can't remember what it was for now. But deep in that cave, at the far reaches, once we had got the horn, the wall exploded. It revealed to us a large red crystal, about the size of a forearm. At the time, we thought it was just more loot to sell. We picked it up, moved it around hands as we identified and appraised it. And then we quickly found it wasn't going to leave us anytime soon. It could be best described as a fire crystal. An item that contains the very essence of the element. You can't destroy it, you can't absorb it, and if you sold it, you'd get ripped off what people would pay you. We had that shard, that crystal, in our possession for a week, traveling back to the quest giver. And every night, a vision got clearer and clearer. It showed us another cave. We didn't know where, but the crystal led us there, either through the turn of the winds, or a whisper saying go right, go left, forward. We handed off the horn and followed the crystal. It led us to a cave made of ice, and from there, another crystal was obtained. We did this until we got 4, 1 for each of us. Every time we got a crystal, we found ourselves getting stronger. It could have just been the foes we defeated along the way, the items we picked up, or the crystals were infusing us with something. Once we had the 4th, a voice rang in our heads, telling us to go to a temple. At that temple, we placed the 4 crystals, and a deity formed in front of us. Our caster identified it as not a primal. It wasn't a summoning or any sort of visage. It was the deity himself, Bahamut. And that is how we became Heroes of Light. He gave us the contract, set out the rules, said what we would gain from said power. And at the forming of the contract, he gave us a mission. A grand army of darkness was going to rise up in the south. We were to quell the darkness to destroy the Dark Lord before he could fully form. We did so. One of us fell to his evil blade and could not become revived. The 3 of us, having done our duty, responded back to Bahamut, and he said that our servitude would continue onwards. He gave us missions from time to time, but that is not of importance. You need to meet with a deity, and these crystals will show you. I still have mine. Orwick stands up as he moves over to the glass display case. Pushing his hand on the lock, it recognizes him and it opens up. He pulls out a brown sack, and for a minute he pulls a large forearm-sized crystal that glows red. He places it.
Oh, go on.
He then places it on the table between the 3 at the other head.
I will pick it up and look at it the same way he said he did, with that. Or that they did.
As you look over the crystal, you're pretty sure it's worth more than anyone can ever give you.
Oh. Slide it along, well, set it down across from Osa.
I don't really know about any of that. Guess I pick it up and just look at it.
As you pick it up and look over it, you're pretty sure no matter what you would do to this, it would not be broken.
Hand it over to Iskandar.
He'll just perception and spellcraft it. Essentially try and figure out exactly what it is and what connection it has to Bahamut.
Sure, you can roll spellcraft.
Wait, that's stealth. Wait a minute.
You sneak away with the crystal and only you become a Hero of Light.
I rolled a 2. Fantastic.
No, you
Roll
get
an
your last
18
roll,
before.
so you got an 18
You're-
before. So you got like
54 total.
50.
Yeah, we'd go with the stealth roll because that's the dice you rolled.
God damn it. Alright, fair enough.
So you can tell this has an overwhelming aura. It's much stronger than anything you've seen, and definitely much stronger than the spell level 15 death item that Elric had in his possession. And you're for damn sure it's been made by a deity. As far as you can tell, however, it doesn't really have any connection to Bahamut.
It's interesting. This seems powerful, don't get me wrong, but just elemental. And he'll pass it over to Leonard, just in case.
Leonard will just sort of inspect it. Just try and gain any sort of knowledge from it at all.
As you look over the crystal, you are pretty sure that if this was used as a power source, maybe in a thermal generator, it could power everything in the entire world for possibly several thousand years.
And then Leonard will sort of pass it back to Elric.
This crystal. It will lead you to the others if there are any others. I kept this when I became a hero of light. Bahamut never took them away. However, the others are still with the other heroes. One is dead in the south, the other two died on other missions. They kept their crystals, and I don't know if they still have them. If they go to the caves they once came from, or if they stayed with the corpses, I do not know. But this no longer speaks to me.
I have a question. You said that you found this one in a cave dedicated to fire, and you fought an
Ifrit Primal.
an Ifrit primal. And it sounded like the next one was probably a Shiva primal.
No.
What?
The crystal, well, the ice cave had no primal in it.
Oh. Okay. Well, that kind of makes my question moot then, because I was going to say we were a little while back. We were at a temple where we fought a primal of Leviathan, not Iskandar and Leonard, but Osa and I were. I was wondering if that might be another place that we could look for more of those. But because we just when we got what we needed from the primal, we just teleported out of there, so we didn't have a chance to see if the cave changed or anything.
It's entirely possible there was a crystal there, though the opposite is also true. As I said, this one revealed itself to us when we had cleared out the cavern. However, it doesn't seem like the caves have any real connection to primals. The first one was only there because that was what our mission was.
Does anybody hear or sense anything strange?
Just its overwhelming ability. I'm not feeling anything else.
Well, he did say he had traveled with it for several days before they started getting suggestions and nudges.
Frankly, seeing your combat styles, if this is the truly fire element, it's going to be Osa or Leonard. Joseph, no offense, I don't think this is quite your thing, but it might be the case.
Not particularly, one way or another.
Are you sure about this, Elric? It's, quite frankly, priceless, as you said.
It has no use for me. I only kept onto it because it was the last item I obtained before I became a hero.
But surely this has some sort of sentimental value to you. Are you absolutely certain you're willing to give it?
If you're truly worried about my emotions over this, feel free to return it to me once you've gathered the others. But no rush.
I would like to enjoy this cooking again, so yes.
Leo will sort of pick up the crystal and say, I'll make it an absolute promise here and now. I'll return this crystal to you. As long as I don't die along the way.
I will ensure that doesn't happen.
Thank you, Iskandar.
I don't know if there's any use in this anymore, but do you know the third hero of light? Do you know where they might be?
So you know about the third. I guess you would have talked with
of
Axel
them.
about it.
Yeah, we don't really know them. We know of them. Vaguely.
You said
I know
that
the third.
you can sense the other warriors of light.
Yes. All heroes of light know how many others there are. And if you would ever meet them, you would know they are one. once, or if you can become one, you will also sense that I still live.
Would it be worth trying to track them down and talk to them as well, or do we just want to go about our business until we start getting nudges and hints?
It's entirely possible they still have their crystal. Is this part of your entourage, or is it simply a different hero of light?
The third hero of light is much older than I, and they were not a part of my party. All of my party is dead.
Apologies, you did mention that. I think it's worth checking out the third, especially if they're older. I mean,
I would suggest you forget about the third.
why? Have they turned?
There's only really three choices when you have power.
They're that old and that powerful. How? Wait a minute. They might be the cause of this. You're telling me an older hero of light than you, being, quite frankly, stronger than most adventuring parties, is still out in the world and has turned, and they have no impact on the current situation.
That seems unlikely.
Zara was very adamant a mortal was the catalyst of this. A hero of light is technically mortal.
She did mention that cackling or laughing as well. I at the time thought it might have been something else, but this could also explain that if that warrior of light or hero of light has gone insane, perhaps.
I thought the influence of Kefka, but this fits too well. Then we don't go after the hero of light then. We might have to confront them at some point, who knows?
So what's our step from here?
We need to find the rest of the crystals. At the very least, they still hold power. Even if they aren't for Elric, they still hold, quite frankly, overwhelming ability. This may give you your chance at being heroes. True heroes. No offense.
Leo sort
Yeah.
of clenches onto the crystal and sort of looks into it and is like, so this crystal will lead us to the others, which will make us heroes.
You're a hero already, Dio. This is a different path. Warrior of light you may be, but hero you're born to.
So the best we have is south for the next one. Do we have any closer locations than that, Elric?
Elric, you said you found this crystal in a cave. Can you remember the location of the cave?
Yes. It was to the northwest, at the coastline of Gargan.
I wonder if we take this crystal back to that cave,
Northwest.
whether it gives us some sort of incentive, or even awakens the crystal once again.
Would it be possible to look at the map really fast, please?
I think I have a handout for the map.
Oh. Handouts.
I apparently don't, so I'm just going to quickly make one.
Sorry, I had to step away for a second. What happened?
There you go.
I just asked Ulrich about where the cave was that he found this crystal, and I said, I wonder if it's worth going back to that cave to almost entice or awaken the crystal. And he
Maybe.
said it's northwest on the continent of Gargan on the coastline.
He said northwest.
So I think our heading would probably be northwest to find this cave.
Potentially.
Potentially
like
take the crystal back to where it was originally resting. And maybe it'll awaken it.
That's the choice, really. Do we take it there, or do we take it to Mount Ifrit?
It's hard to say.
We'll take it to the coastline. I can, from here, assuming we're still on Gargan, I can take us there now.
Oh yeah, where are we?
We're on a different
We kinda
plane,
just-
aren't we?
You're in
Popped
hell.
in somewhere. What
Well,
was
the
that?
mages who brought us here are still outside,
Yeah.
so I don't think it's fair for us to just leave.
No.
Yeah.
We'll,
Ulrich will sort of not Ulrich, Leonard will sort of stand up and walk over to Ulrich. And, I thank you and for all your help. I understand this isn't easy for you to pass on, knowing all the risks that it is to become a hero of light. But deeply, I am very grateful.
Hopefully you're grateful in a few millennia.
And like I said before, I'll be sure to bring this crystal back to you. Leonard holds out his hand.
Eric shakes your hand.
Leo sort of turns back to the party and says, well, it's time to say our farewells and I guess make a move. Like you say, we're still against the clock.
Joseph will head over and shake his hand as well, if he's willing, and then I'll whisper in his ear, "Don't worry, as soon as my mom is aware enough, I'll get that signature for you."
Eric will also move his hand over a few of the vials on his alchemy table. He pulls out a long vial that has a fat end to it, a glowing yellow liquid inside. If time is of the essence, this could speed up your body's process and give you access to your abilities a bit sooner.
What do you mean? What is
He
this?
basically says he's going to give you your daily abilities back, daily uses.
interesting.
Ah. We're greatly appreciated.
I think Osa's probably the one that would need that the most. Right?
Yeah, I actually don't have daily uses, so go for it.
I didn't really use any, so
And I don't have anything like that either.
As you kind of talk amongst yourselves about who would need it most, he lets you know that it's an area of effect.
never
Oh,
mind.
okay.
You just drop it on the floor, I take it.
Yeah.
If we're going immediately, then yeah, I would really appreciate it.
Eric just kind of like underhand tosses it to the floor. The vial breaks and the liquid turns quickly into a gas. As it surrounds you all, you basically are affected by a full day's rest. So you get your cast level plus casting bod and MP, and then any daily usages back.
I wanted to ask you about that. With scholars, do you get double casting mod or just one casting mod?
For resting, that's
Yeah.
a good question.
It's not really clear.
You get bonus MP from both, don't you?
Yes.
So yeah, I'll say yeah.
All right then.
Would you be willing to take down your fields for just a few moments while we head outside of their range? Or is that not possible?
We can simply walk out, Joseph. It won't hurt him.
It'd also take quite a bit of time to turn them off.
Alright, don't worry about it.
I'm sorry for your loss, Elric. And Iskander will leave.
Yeah. Thanks for your information and help.
We really appreciate everything that you've told us, and again, if I can return the favor, I will.
So everyone leaves.
Yes.
Seems like.
As you leave the hut back into the open plains and the kind of like circular field, Leonard, you can feel the crystal in your hand start to pulse. Starts to pull on your hand.
I'll sort of notify everyone.
Where is it pointing?
I sort of hold it up and see where it wants to pull to.
I would ask for a knowledge, but you're going to want to succeed it. It pulls
wouldn't.
you around. Well, most people are going to concede it, just because of intelligence modifiers right now. The crystal starts to pull you over to the northeast.
It's pulling towards the northeast.
Where about on the map are we? Can we ask our little teleporter friend where we are about?
Well, if you go all the way over to them, yeah.
Oh, I thought we were going to.
Pretty sure.
Well, you currently run next to the hut, but you just walk back over to where the
I was gonna say.
teleporter is.
The only place I know that we are is our little party icons in Stone Shore.
Yeah.
Pretty sure we're actually not.
Yeah,
pretty
I know
sure.
we're not.
I really hope that that's not where we're at right now. Cause
Yeah,
It's
they're here.
just changed, man.
Yeah,
he
the
was
hero
here
of light
all
is just near Stone Shore. He's
Yeah. He's
so he knows
beneath.
about the cooking.
He's beneath the lake the whole time.
He is the lady of the lake.
I mean, considering it's supposed to be Leviathan's resting spot, I don't know if Bahamut would like that very much. I don't know.
Anyway, so yeah, where are we?
Okay, you move through the circle of the traps once more, and the arcane mark on your right hands are removed, as well as all of the spells being turned off yet again. So Iskandar probably wants to throw up age assistance.
Including heroism, that's gone.
Yeah, that'll be gone.
heroism gone. And as you ask the teleporter where you are, he will tell you that you're very far south on Gargan, just the southeast of Rositan Lake and Stone Shore.
And it's pulling us where? Northeast?
Northeast.
Hmm.
But as you turn to the teleporter, they will wave off to you as they finally get to the people coming back after all of this, like half an hour as you talk to them again.
Yeah.
I hope you got what you needed in there.
Oh,
I
we
think
got
so.
more than we needed and less than we needed at the same time.
We got something.
Something
Got
that we can
something.
work on.
Now, it's northeast, right? So past Villacross Heights, more towards sort of this area, I assume, if you're saying by the coast.
Well, no,
No.
the cave was originally by the coast in the northwest. This this crystal's pulling us towards northeast, so I don't know how far or how close. It could very well be Valcross Heights for all we know. Or it could be on a
That's
different
true.
continent.
We
Could
should
be
probably go,
trifecta.
yeah, we should probably go.
Why don't
that.
Why don't
Sorry,
we go back to Nefel and see where we're at from there?
Yeah.
Nifel or wherever we were at the Minerva Temple.
Oh, right.
I think we
Yeah.
should probably go towards Villacross Heights because the more time we spend going away from our objective, the more time the sloth has to increase its power.
Agree.
Well, this don't you need to know where you're teleporting?
Yeah,
to
you
teleport?
need to
We
know
just
where you're
can't
teleporting.
learn the location at Valcross Heights could get us in the middle of the mountain or something.
Well,
At least we have a location with the temple.
Ask the teleporter if he's ever been to Arena.
Could work.
Or Melnoroka.
that and I can also discern location to figure out where we're going.
Or Castris. Oh, that would be nice too.
Do you tell the teleporter about the crystal?
No.
No.
No, not yet.
Okay. Teleporter will tell you that they have been to Arena before.
Is that the furthest northeast that you've ever been? Or do you possibly have someplace further northeast that you could go?
House of sneezing. He's been to several places northeast. The furthest northeast he's been is the Triconfection Isles.
On Gargan. I should have clarified that. I apologize.
The furthest he's been would be the Arid Bear Docks.
Let's go to the docks and see what the crystal reacts to there.
Yeah, sounds good.
Because then we know if it's in front of us or behind us. If you wouldn't mind,
with that.
would you mind just take it to the... Is it Ehrenberg? Docks?
Air.
Ehrenberg Docks, please.
Erdber!
Linking up hands, you teleport away from the open up plains in the middle of a forest as you teleport over to the docks. In a similar sight to everywhere else you've been, the area is full of people in a dazed-like manner, moving about slowly and not really doing anything with enough drive to really set them apart from one another. As you get to here, the crystal pulls you to the southwest.
Ah,
So back towards
Well,
Valcross Heights.
Southwest-west.
I think it is Velcross Heights, you know.
Wait, you said west southwest?
No, southwest.
Southwest-west.
So that's more really Helena Nifel way.
It's like, that is the end of my teleport range here. At the moment, until we hit next level. So, we were down here, I think. Roughly.
We were
Yeah,
there.
like here. We were there. I think it is Velcross Heights.
Yeah.
I genuinely think it's Velcross Heights.
Yeah, I think so. So the question is, do we go straight to Valcross Heights or do we go to Erina and then travel to Valcross Heights?
Well,
There are locations at Valcross Heights that anyone can teleport to.
There'll be several settlements between here and there.
Are there any we actually know of, or do you need me to do at a certain location? To
The
pick up?
teleporter can know of, but there's a lot here that I haven't written up.
No, that's fine. Ideally, yeah, we need to go towards Veracross Heights to see where this crystal takes us.
So as close as we can get, really.
yeah. Why don't you do that discern location thing and see if that helps at all?
The thing about the sun location is I need to roughly figure out a creature or an item that once belonged to. Oh wait, never mind. I can just touch the crystal and figure out where it goes.
But wouldn't you figure out where the crystal was from?
Yeah, that
Not
will
where. Yeah, but we know it was northwest where the original cave was.
Yeah.
We want the
Well-
next crystal.
Maybe there will be some divine intervention. Let's see.
I mean, you can try, sure.
Well, it's not going to work for a crystal we don't own. It's more a case of
Yeah.
I thought we were deciding with Leonard that this crystal was going to take us where it originally belonged. If I cast discern location, it also points southwest. Then we should probably go southwest. If not, you're absolutely right. We'll go elsewhere. Cool. This is going to take 10 minutes. However, you're right with that.
Yep.
Sure.
Nothing short of direct intervention from a deity can prevent you from learning the exact location. So,
10 minutes will go by as you focus on the crystal and the way it is pulling Leonard, and you can find exactly where it's pointing you to.
can I then bend space and time us to that exact location? Because I know where it is.
Yes.
Awesome. I will use my. I'm pretty sure that's Arcane Pool. Yeah, I can use Arcane. No, wait. Is that an Esoteric or an Arcane?
Either way, let's thank our other teleporter friend and send him on his way back to home. I'm just gonna give him like 50 gil as a tip.
I mean, that's a crappy tip for how expensive teleports are, but sure.
I'll just give him what I've got on me, which is 250, and just say that if you need any assistance from myself or my family, please let me know. We owe you a debt.
Well, he's first going to ask why he's no longer needed if you're not back at the temple and where you guys are going.
We're going to an undisclosed location. I mean, no offense, but we don't know what we're going to find there, and I don't want to endanger your life.
And I guess he'll let Kurdash know you guys are going to wherever you need to go, and that he'll probably use sending if he feels you guys have been gone too long.
I can always send sending to Kurdash if need be. But yeah, we'll go there.
Yep.
Alright, the teleporter who aided you thus far will go back to the Minerva Temple, and you guys teleport over to the location that Iskandar was able to discern. On arrival, your teleportation will spark and sputter once more, almost as if it's being interrupted by something else. Similar to what happened when you went to the hut of Elric. As you appear, you kind of stumble as you land on broken stone pavements. You are surrounded by destroyed pillars made of marble, and several benches and buildings have been destroyed. It looks like it's been both a combination of attack and environmental. The earth is kind of cracked all over as if there was a massive earthquake, and there are signs of larger trebuchet boulders and attacks from magic. The only thing that's still left standing is the remains of a doorway and what remains of the walls keeping it intact. And the crystal in hand vibrates even faster as you can start to hear a sort of hum from how fast it's moving. It pulls Leonard over to the door that still is left standing.
Let's take a quick look around first.
I'll tell everyone exactly what's happening with the crystal.
Looks like we're in the right place.
Anything hostile in the area?
You give a quick once over the immediate vicinity, however, you don't see anything that is hostile. There's a few critters here and there, but nothing that would really cause any issue.
Okay. Is there any way to know possibly where we are? Are there any iconographies, any banners, or anything like that that might tell us what ruined location we are in?
Knowledge history.
I got you.
So have
I
I.
might be able to assist. History. I can possibly assist. We'll see.
Fuck.
No.
Well, 10 is what you need to assist, right?
10 is what you need to assist.
Yeah, you all, yeah.
There you go.
You know, this place was once called Monavon. There's a old civilization that was founded 1800 years ago and was destroyed about 1100 years ago. It was home to philosophers as well as magical adepts, once rumored to be protected by the gods. However, this was proven false when it was destroyed in a conflict over land, and the civilization itself was wiped out.
That
Leonard
was
will.
before the war with the Elvon, right?
Way before.
Yeah, I thought so.
Leonard will walk over to the door and open it.
As you pull on the handle of the door, nothing happens.
I will
It's-
check to see if it's trapped first.
I'm just going to look over it and see if there's any indents at all. Or any keyholes, indents.
57 for trap finding.
You can't find any traps. However, as you look over it, you'll see that there is a hole towards the middle portion of it, so you'd have to kind of lean upwards, and looks to be the same diameter as the crystal if you put it in lengthways.
Leonard looks back to the party and says, "Everyone, just be prepared for anything that may happen."
Way ahead of you.
As he stretches up and inserts the crystal in the correct formation.
As Leonard does this, I cast Dwarf's Endurance Mass.
As you place the crystal into the hole, it continues to vibrate faster and faster as the hum becomes a high-pitched screech. And as it's fully implanted, the humming stops as the crystal vibrates so quickly it becomes almost invisible to the eye. The door makes a large crunching noise as the stone moves within inside of it, and the door slowly opens ajar. The crystal then slides out of the slot back into the open hands of Leonard as it has stopped humming.
Leonard will push the door open.
You push the push the door closed, and it locks itself.
Oh wait, did it ajar the other way?
Yeah, it's opening up to you, so you can just pull it open.
Oh,
instead.
okay, right, yeah, pull it open.
You pull on the handle of the door as it moves with you, though it is very heavy, so you kind of have to strain and use two hands. And as you open it up, it leads into a room that is far larger than the outside would have led you to believe.
I'll tell the party to
Bigger
come
on the
closer.
inside.
And as I tell the party to come closer, I'll take a step in.
Be careful in there, Leonard.
Always.
You will find yourself in a large open room. Though not completely square, it's more elongated widthways. Tall stone walls surround you on each side, and the doors slowly start to shut behind you, though you have no real sense of dread or foreboding as if they could not be opened yet again. In front of you is a large pillar that reaches from the floor to the ceiling, some stone and brick steps leading up to the base of it. Atop the steps are several lit candles, and you could swear those could burn for ages, though you have no real evidence to say that they could. The column has depictions of several deities going all across it, from the greater deities of Althena and Bahamut to the lesser ones like Ifrit and Shiva.
Now remember, he was talking about lots of traps, so don't move forward without checking. No,
You have it going casually.
I do, but I'd much rather be actively looking in this situation.
I'm sorry, this is quite the fight.
I agree, but he did say he the look on his face and the tone in his voice when he said, "Oh, the traps." Yeah, I don't think that we should just be willy-nilly walking everywhere.
Iskander will cast True Seeing on himself.
Give me 1 moment. Because one of my macros is broken. Okay. Iskandar, as you cast True Seeing, Roll me a will save.
These have let me down before.
Okay. As you cast True Seeing, you see the room for what it really is, at which point you can see that it is much larger than what it is currently. It opens up into a vast open space, and only on the horizon of possibly 4 miles can you actually see the true walls. This column that you see before you is just a shifting of mana, and this entire area has been formed specifically for what it is currently doing. You're pretty sure if someone else came here, it would not look like this. The void is filled with countless eyes that peer down at you. You could have to guess there's possibly 1,000 eyes. Aside from that, of eyes, you know that there are other sensory organs being used to currently stare down upon you. Almost as if you're being tested and graded for what you're doing. You know that beings both on this plane and outside are currently staring you down, as you feel a heavy pressure placed upon you, and that if you do anything wrong, it's possible any of these beings could get angry and smite you.
Iskandar will relay this to the party, stepping back and relaying to them that we are very much on a trial.
Leonard will sort of clinch onto the crystal and kind of just think in his head, this is the moment.
So again, let's not proceed forward with hasty intent. Let's work through this as best as we can and as thoughtfully as we can.
And that being said, knowing that you've already searched for traps, we'll move forward to the pillar. As a dog appears out of nowhere. I'll sort of look over this pillar.
As you move closer to the pillar, whilst you thought it was just a solid column with carvings into it, it then reveals it is a shifting piece of matter, which Iskandar can easily tell with his true seeing that it wasn't there anyway. The column starts to rotate, almost as if it was a puzzle piece. Parts of the deities' faces and bodies shifting and breaking apart as the whole column spins, turns, goes upside down, and revolves. It ends as the column completely makes itself clear. There is no depictions of anything except from a smooth surface. A grinding of stone and marble can be heard as a cylindrical hole opens up. Again, it's the same size as the crystal.
I'll look at the crystal and see if it reacts to any of this.
Crystal is very still.
Leonard will look back to the party and say, you guys happy for me to put this in?
Seems to want you to.
Leonard will put the crystal in.
Iskandar, roll me will save.
Iskandar's not here right now. Please leave a message after the tone.
He got attacked by that dog.
No, I didn't protect him. I failed my
Terrible.
job.
Iskandar, I need you to give me a will save, please.
Apologies, right? Again?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's better this time.
Leonard, as you place the crystal into the circle, you can see that the circle kind of closes up and catches the red crystal. The pillar starts to shake and move again, as you can hear a large movement of stone, as well as a cracking of wood. Iskandar, you see this happen, and the red crystal is kind of just taken up by some ethereal hands as they are taking up upwards, again, 4 miles until they reach another ceiling. As you look up, following the crystal, you see a mass of material, light, and both ethereal as countless images of creatures can be seen just darting and moving around the ceiling as if it was I don't know what a group of spiders is called. A horde of spiders coming across the ceiling. But instead, they are different beings from different planes. You can see 4 sets of large hands grip around each of the party. So 2 around Iskandora, and the 2 around Osa. And you can tell that you have now all been selected by one of these viewers, and you can then roll spellcraft.
Also, is kind of keeping an eye on Iskandar this whole time, because I'm pretty sure even though he successfully will saves and all, he will have some facial
Yes.
expressions that kind of.
This is
He's
the kind of
probably-
sight that would make him go mad, so he's probably like open more, just staring at everything.
So also, it's kind of keeping an eye on him that he keeps his shit together.
Iskandar is having a fucking moment, quite frankly, at this exact time.
I would imagine so.
Iskandora, you can easily tell that these groupings of hands that have just like grasped around you are the deities that have selected to sponsor you. And the price they've put up is your life, and you know that if you fail a trial, your existence will be destroyed.
Do I know which deities?
No. All you can see is the hands.
Okay, I will relay to the party that if we die here, there is absolutely no chance that we will, there's no way to revive us in any way, shape, or form.
So the hands are on who?
Everyone. Everyone's been grasped by a different deity as your sponsor.
And I can't tell you who they are, but I know it's happened.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we better finish this thing then.
Yep.
Finish up what we started.
So, seeing that, who has dark vision?
I do.
I do.
I do.
Never mind then. In that case, I'm going to cast Mage Rose myself, which you know what it does. For now, I'll save the MP. That's absolutely fine. And we'll crack on from there. It's going to, however, reiterate that this is not good in any way, shape, or form.
Leonard sort of looks back to Iskandar and is like, what do you mean? We could be selected. I know this isn't the ideal solution for you, but for me, this is a dream.
The powers at play here are, quite frankly, beyond understanding. That it's not just a boon we're being given, we're being observed. Specifically us, by creatures who can control planes, destroy lives, end existences in a flick of a finger. Again,
We're
not good.
not doing this. I think only Leonard is the one who actually wants this. We're doing this because we have to do this. We don't have much of a choice if we want to deal with the things in the sky.
I truly wish I could show you what I'm seeing, but I'd rather you didn't. I mean, I can technically, but I'm not going to do that.
Iskandora's probably going to have to seek some therapy after this. Because essentially you're in a Call of Cthulhu world right now, where everyone else is just in a normal fantasy world.
Let us proceed.
Check this door for traps.
As you look over the door, you will find not exactly a trap, but a mechanism. And you can easily tell that once you open this door, you cannot leave this temple.
I will slap Greater Heroism on everyone again before we go in, which is 20 MP, just in case.
All these buffs that I have to keep adding.
I'm sorry. I'm just
Does
trying to
this
help.
door appear locked?
Doesn't seem to be locked, no.
Okay, let's try to push it open. Or
You
pull.
pull on,
maybe.
yeah, you pull on the handle of the door, and as you do so, you can hear a shifting of rock. As you can see that the door that led you in here has been locked. Iskandar, there is no door there whatsoever. It's just another wall. So there's completely no way you can leave now.
What does great heroism do again?
So it's +4 to. Let me pull the thing up.
You can make it into a buff because it seems to be happening quite often.
That's
Yeah,
what
so
I'm doing.
there is an actual
There's heroism,
yeah.
so you can just
yeah.
put the numbers to +4 instead of 2.
Yeah, if you just get heroism, put it +4 for its attack rolls, saves, and skill throws. You're immune to fear, and you get 20 extra temporary HP. Just a little buff.
So everything changes to 4.
Attack rolls, save throws, skill checks. Yeah. Damage, not so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, Iskandor's slightly freaking out at the fact that he is seeing a very different area to you guys, but he will come with you.
What was that temp HP?
20. So 20 temp HP for you. For everyone. Because I used it on myself because I'm greedy.
What's behind door number 1?
Open.
You open up the door, and as he does so, Iskandar, roll me will save.
Can you not?
You have true seeing, so you're seeing all the madness happen.
I think the calculations in there, it should be higher.
How well can his mental well-being stay intact by the end of this? He'll be a broken
wanna
man by
just-
the end.
Drop the true seeing.
No, I like it.
You may, your character hates it. Okay, as you see Joseph pull on this door, you can see all of the matter and magic and work behind it as it starts to create this new place. But it happens so quickly as it moves through 5 different dimensions, your brain starts to hurt just thinking about how this is working.
Do I
And
pass the
you-
save?
You pass the save. Yes.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Opening the door, it leads you into a shorter room with a finer stone walkway. On each wall, both the west and east, you see large demonic statues, each of them having twin daggers in outstretched arms.
Joseph, care to have a look in the room?
Absolutely.
As you search over the floor, Joseph, you can see what would have been traps, but instead there are very tiny wooden spiders scrolling around, almost as if the room knew that you would not be able to get hit by the trap. Iskandar, you can see that the room is changing itself based on what your characters are, and there would have been traps there, but they decided it's not going to do anything to you.
Iskandar makes a slight scream and then stifles it and says, "It's okay."
I'm sure you're gonna be able to keep that up.
I need to
We need
see.
to. We need you to focus on what we're seeing.
I can see.
If you lose your shit, what are we gonna do about you?
I'll drop it if it becomes a problem. In all seriousness, the pass, this is going to cause a serious problem.
Shouldn't both of you have more HP than me?
So,
Good,
you
Leonard.
put it into temp HP. I don't think it comes into the calculation, like on the bar.
No, the bar is just general
Doesn't
HP,
know.
but
Right,
there is
but the
these.
dwarf endurance should also, like, you should
Yeah,
have
I've
more
already
HP.
put it in. It was 154.
Oh,
because I have a +4 con inducement from a cybernetic.
Ah,
My heart.
okay. So just a much greater effect on me who has very little
Yeah.
into that. Okay.
It will have a big boost for anyone who doesn't have a con increase.
But yes, especially Jack, you're going to have to slowly start to roleplay that Iskandor is going to go crazy. Because he's
Yeah.
seeing into so many planes at once and seeing all these deities basically messing with him.
Iskander will drop True Seeing and just say, I don't need to see that.
Doesn't want to deal with a psychotic old man.
Probably a good
Okay.
choice. You said yourself, if we're done for here, we're done for good, and we need every one of us at our best peak performance. And I don't think you're that if you're seeing whatever it is you're seeing.
It's not. Iskander will stop and just say, let's just go on. I can deal with the material plane at the very least.
All right. So what am I seeing? Swarms of spiders? Was that it?
You see minuscule wooden spiders kind of spreading across the floor as if there was going to be traps here, but they decided against it.
So in other words, the room's not trapped.
So are they dangerous looking, or are they just like, oh, that's the thing that's not going to work, so whatever, just go?
Yeah. They've just scurried away. They're not going to do anything to you.
I'd be careful of the statues. They may decide the direct combat route is better.
Iskandor, as your true seeing is slowly going away, actually checking, can you turn off true seeing? You cannot turn off true seeing.
Oh no! Wait,
Oh,
no, can I
dear.
dismiss it?
No, because it doesn't have the D on it. I'm going to check if you just
Can you-
put it in there.
Can you
Can you
dispel it?
spell it?
Yep, true seeing does not have dismissible on it, so you would need to dispel yourself.
Can I targeted dispel myself?
Yes, as long as you can see the effect, you can target that specific effect and dispel it.
I'm pretty sure I have to spell. I do. I have to spell Crater. For the sake of myself, I'm going to cast that.
You need to beat your own caster level.
I don't think that worked. Wait, that's exactly. Yeah, that's fine. That's alright.
It's 11 plus caster level.
Shit, that's
Should
not
be.
right.
Hmm.
Also, if it's great, it's +4 if you're doing a single target, I think.
11 plus cast level. Bearing in mind my current.
Oh, that's counterspell. No.
My current cast level is 20. That's the problem.
So you need to beat 31.
Shit.
Ha!
Right. Okay, I'm gonna go insane. I can't wait to see it.
But yeah, Iskandor, as you entered the room as well as just before, because you can see these, you know that these are not statues. These are actual 6 individual fell demons that have their own particular plane that they lord over.
I will relay this to the party as a slight tick starts to appear underneath his left eye. Bearing in mind it's an artificial eye.
And your character doesn't know because you didn't fight the Fell Demon, but the Fell Demon is essentially the same thing that the party fought in Valcross Heights, the one that beheaded Osa.
Ha! Ha! Yeah, about that. I ain't about that lost limb life.
There's only 6 of them.
So, what's the plan here, guys?
They're not moving towards us yet.
Can I tell if they're being constrained by something with True Seeing? Can I at least use this as something beneficial?
They don't seem to be constrained, however, they do laugh at you as they notice that you can see them.
God fucking.
And again, they look like they're here to just fuck with you, and they're
You're
just
gonna have
observers.
fun. You're gonna go insane.
At what point do I start taking actual wisdom damage?
When you fail your will saves!
Right, I'm gonna use my arcane pool to cast Greater Destiny on myself because I fucking need it at this point.
I will need 1 will save for you from the Fell Demons, because you didn't make one for this.
Ah! Fine. Without that.
Without the Great Destiny, yeah.
Does it pass?
Well, you're fine for now.
Alright. I would suggest we move on. The creatures are laughing at us, me, but they're not attacking us.
Check this door for traps.
Just stay by my side.
As you look over the door, again, you do not see a trap, but you do see a mechanism that shows that this would close the door behind you. That the door north would close when you open this one.
All right, let's keep going. Push it open.
As Joseph opens up this Iskandar, you can see that the 6 fell demons that are in here put all their hands into whatever clothing they have, as each of them pull out 2 dice. They're all 6-sided dice. They all roll the dice, and do you want to check what the numbers are, or do you just want to not look and just put out your mind?
No, I'm going to look. If I'm forced to deal with this, I'm going to look.
6 is all around. 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6.
Wait, can I influence the dice? I take it no.
No.
Alright, yeah, what are they?
Alright,
That's a lot of sixes.
as you look at all of the dice as they land across whatever plane that these creatures are on, after each one is rolled, you can see their facial expressions. The first guy, who got 6 and a 3, looks very worried. The one with 6 and 4, even more so worried. The 5 and 6 kind of just accepts his lot in life, and it looks like he's gonna fail at something. The one that rolled Snake Eyes is extremely happy with himself. At which point, the ones that rolled 6, 3, 6 and 4, 5 and 6 disappear into puffs of smoke. The 6 and 1, then 2 and 4 look like they've just rolled the worst things ever, and then they also go in the puffs of smoke as their dice start falling. And then you see the final fell demon that's left with his Snake Eyes roll of 1 and 1.
It's gaining all the powers of the others.
He has an intent gaze on your characters, and you can now see that it's moved away from its statue position, and it's now just floating just to the back of your characters, like right here, and he's now following you.
I don't mean to alarm you, but there is a fell demon, literally, and I'll point out my hand at the square behind us, there.
So, is he on the material plane, or is he in the plane that Iskandar can see? So, in other words, can we see this?
You can't see this, only Iskandar can see this.
I can make you guys see this if you want, but I wouldn't recommend it.
I don't think Leo would have the mental capacity to be able to look at this.
So this is what he looks like.
I definitely don't have the mental capacity to be looking at that, because I remember that.
I don't think Joseph has the will saves for this.
Yeah, and Stan doesn't have the will saves for this.
What even is my will save? Yeah, there's no chance I would do that. No chance at all.
I mean, I can help, but there's only so
No,
far.
I'm good. So Leo will sort of look to Iskandar and say, right, so if this thing's behind us, what do we do?
You wanna swap places?
No. Quite frankly, it's pretty better that I know what it's doing. You're better staying ahead. This, whatever it is, I think it's not the case of it's going to attack us. I think it's here to mess with us. Judging by its facial expression, and I'll look it directly in the face, I assume it looks like the shit-eating grin.
Yep, it's very happy with himself.
Yes, this is definitely something to inhibit us, not attack us.
Right, let's keep moving. I'm gonna stick by Iskandar's side.
And
As
that could change at any moment.
Iskandar, as you say he's going to hinder you, you can see the Vel Demon just shrug his shoulders.
Iskandar narrows his crusty eyes and turns away.
It's a good thing you're true seeing and not true hearing.
Yeah. I don't think... Is that a thing?
Maybe, but it doesn't have much of a combat application, so I don't think it's really there.
If it is, I really wouldn't recommend it, because you will pretty much go insane, because I'm pretty sure you hear like a million laughters.
Yeah,
Yep.
no. Now is not the time for this.
No.
The ceiling did look like a mass of spiders, even though they weren't spiders. There was tons of creatures, so it would be deafening.
Yeah, let's just move on. Here's me thinking, I'll get useful spells. I'll be good.
Just
Blah, blah, blah.
nudge Joseph and say, "Open the door."
I've been trying the entire time that you guys have been talking. I'm just not strong enough to open it.
You open up the door and it leads into a very short corridor. At the very end of the corridor is another door. I don't know if the door is easy enough to see.
Am I generating light?
No?
Well,
There's torches.
I can't see.
It's 'cause-
Like,
Oh, yeah, you don't have dark vision, do you?
I do now, because True Vision gives you anything.
Gives you anything, does it?
Well, it gives you the ability to see through normal darkness, magical darkness, notice secret doors.
Oh, yeah, normal darkness. I don't know how I could do that.
I don't know the range. It doesn't really say.
It says 120.
Oh, 120.
Oh,
Yeah,
whoops. Never mind.
So night vision 120. Can you see in there now?
Yeah.
Okay. Iskandar, will say, please.
Right, okay. Do I pop a Grand Destiny on this? Yes. Yes, I will. Let me just refresh the page. I only have 4 use of this, just fair warning, and I'm going to use all of them on these kind of saves. That hasn't added the 4, but either way, it doesn't matter. I've said I'm going to use it. Does 40 work?
Uh, 40 indeed works. And what are your languages? I think you're in my macro for this.
They should be.
You're not. My macro hasn't been updated. So can you copy and paste your languages for me?
Absolutely.
Okay. As you enter into this room, or at least in the doorway, you can see on the eastern wall is a large, not exactly board, but it's like a stone tablet with a lot of engravings on it. And as you look on it, it's continually getting engraved, but there's nothing, there's no material thing there. It's just mana crushing into the rock to cut into it. And you can easily identify it as abyssal, though it does change it to celestial at some points, almost as if there's 2 people marking it at once. And you can read it, and it seems like people are betting on you, and they are betting at millennias.
When I read this, is this millennia in terms of... Is it just say millennia bidding? It doesn't say, like, how long we could have to serve.
That's as much as you can gather from it. A lot of it is all in like different languages. It's also shifting. It's not really particular wordings either. This is as much as you can get.
Alright. I will relay to the party that these are our current potential terms of service in millennia.
Leo will sort of just look at himself and be like, "Why am I so low?"
Well, you're new,
You should.
and Iskandar can see everything, so they may like Iskandar better if they're bidding that much.
Please don't. Please swap me and Leonard.
Do you ask the weird images around you?
Yes, the fucking Cthulhu-esque beings. Can we swap?
They
All right,
definitely won't. They'll increase your bet.
Leonard stays the same, however, yours increases to 311.
Iskandar slaps his face, like his forearm into his face, and just says, "Okay."
The door closes behind you as you enter the bidding area, and the door in front of you starts to shake, and you can hear shifting and movement behind it as Iskandar can see the room ahead of you being constructed just as you're about to enter it yet again.
Can I start looking at the floor when we walk into this, like, transitory room?
Or closing your eyes.
Yeah, I'd like to think that works, but unfortunately true seeing goes through your eyelids.
I thought it can't go past material objects.
It's not an X-ray, but it can go through things.
Yeah, there's a certain thickness that it goes through, and it's based on cast level, and mine's kind of high.
Nah, it isn't.
Why did I get the caster material to increase my caster level?
It does not penetrate solid objects. It does not give X-ray vision. What else are it saying here, though? Maybe it goes through your eyelids, I don't know. As you pull on the doors, Iskandar can tell that that room is possibly going to take a week to construct, maybe longer if people can't get in there to construct the room. And we shall end the session here.
Are pretty high at the moment.
The likelihood of that is really high, you say?
No, I said building supplies and the demand for them are really high at the moment.
On that subject, are we good to go next week or no?